Good morning, Digit fam. Adam Dowd here with another dose of all the tech news you need to know. And just to clarify what I was saying yesterday, the Digit Daily podcast is going on hiatus for a while. So we're clear, that's only the podcast. The newsletter will continue as per normal. At the moment, there is no date in mind to bring the podcast back for a season 2, but that doesn't mean it won't happen. If the stars align properly down the road, Digit will certainly consider bringing the show back. It's fun, and I would definitely love to do it some more. And it is fun, so I want to do it right now. It is January 30th, 2020, and this is your Digit Daily. Every year, we get to add to our expanding vocabulary with new words and new meanings. Emojis like to get in on that action as well, and every year we get a new crop of emojis with which to communicate. Or something. I'm an old, so I don't really use them except for possibly overusing the smiley face, close parentheses. See what I mean? So we're getting 117 new emoji icons in 2020. 62 of them are brand new, including a smiling face with a tear, presumably for people who are watching The Notebook, an anatomic heart for doctors and surgeons who want to say I love you, but with a sense of realism, a pickup truck for our Missouri listeners, and a boomerang for those of you down under. 55 new emojis will be variants of existing emojis, like different skin tone ninjas and a gender-neutral Santa? Yeah, because that's what the world was missing. But the creme de la creme has to be the Italiano pinch the fingers emoji with the molto bene. And fun fact, molto bene means very fine, but the way I originally spelled it in my script translates to multiple buckets. Language barriers are hard. So in case my accent didn't give it away, the pinched fingers emoji looks exactly like that AOC meme from a few weeks ago. It's when you pinch your fingers together because something is very, very good or has multiple buckets. The emoji went viral yesterday with people celebrating its inclusion, even if its use case is fairly niche. These new emojis probably won't start popping up in phones until September or October. There's still art, short code, and names to finalize before we can settle all of this. And all of this is great, but we all as a group need to come together and pray that this will absolutely, positively not result in another emoji movie. Dear God, please no. So if you are the praying sort, start praying. And while you do that, let's head into the roundup! Android Authority asked the question, with no Galaxy S20e on the horizon, will the S10e go down as a one-off experiment? Probably, yeah. Microsoft's earnings statement went out yesterday, clocking in at $36.9 billion with a B dollars last quarter. Probably the most surprising stat to come out of there is that the Surface is a $2 billion business. I mean, I know Surface hardware is pretty great, and it's in its 7th generation now, but honestly, I didn't think it was that much of a driver, and good for it. Surface devices are super nice and sexy, and if I were in the market for a new PC, I'd start with the Surface and go from there. So congratulations to Microsoft on quietly building a hardware line to subvert your partner OEMs. Oh, wait. Meanwhile, Tesla posted its second consecutive quarter of growth, which is the first time it's done that since 2018. Record sales were credited for Tesla's success, though it should be mentioned that it still lost $862 million in 2019 altogether. But still, the electric car maker who could is still churning out record numbers of vehicles, and only some of them are catching on fire or self-driving into accidents, which is a big step, I think. I'll be honest, I still want to own a Tesla. The Model Y is very attractive for me, but the cars I have now will last for quite some time yet. So is there a Tesla in my future? Maybe. Is there one in the near future? No. Maybe by the time I buy one, people will have stopped keying them. Meanwhile, SpaceX launched another 60 Starlink satellites into orbit, bringing its total to 240 internet-beaming satellites. SpaceX also successfully recovered the rocket again, but at this point, doesn't that just kind of go without saying? The 240 satellites, you'll remember, are meant to bring affordable internet to the world from space, and SpaceX already had the largest constellation of satellites in orbit. There's still a lot of concern from scientists about how these satellites will affect astrological observations, but at this point, SpaceX is damming the torpedoes and proceeding full speed ahead. It remains to be seen if SpaceX can solve this problem. Spin Launch is an appropriately named startup who plans to eventually launch rockets into space by shooting them out of a centrifuge, making it one of the first mechanically launched rockets able to deliver a payload into space. In order to do this, Spin Launch built a vacuum-sealed centrifuge big enough to hold a football field, which spins projectiles with enough speed to experience around 10,000 times the pull of gravity before releasing the rocket into the sky. At its peak, a small rocket would fire to nudge the craft the last little bit into orbit, and voila, instant fuel savings. It's an interesting idea, and call me a skeptic, but it seems like spinning something that fast is just a bad idea, especially if something goes wrong. Just a big bag of yikes right there. Remember that Japanese billionaire who wanted to run a reality TV show to find a girlfriend to fly with him around the moon? Yeah, LOL, JK. He has since decided to cancel the idea and issued an apology in a now deleted tweet that said, quote, "To think that 27,722 women with earnest intentions and courage had used their precious time to apply makes me feel extremely remorseful to conclude and inform everyone with this selfish decision of mine." I mean, props for owning it up, my man, but I'm not sure what we all expected from a man whose Twitter handle is YouSuck2020. I'm not even kidding about that. Continuing the space trend, the highest resolution solar telescope released its first images of the sun, and they are really neat. The telescope is able to zero in on the surface of the sun, and it kind of looks like a giant cork when you zoom in close enough, but that cork burns at 5,778 Kelvin, so, wear gloves. It is hoped that the telescope can help us learn more about the closest star to our planet and more about space overall, which is a great goal, but also, don't forget to put the lens cap on, yeah? And finally, the Nintendo Switch topped the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in lifetime sales, and considering what a juggernaut the SNES was, that's impressive. The Switch has sold an impressive 52.48 million units as compared to the 49.10 million units sold of the SNES. Of course, put into perspective, Sony has sold over 106 million PlayStation 4 consoles, so there's still a way to go. But overall, I really dig the Switch with its modularity and portability, so congrats to Nintendo. But you also have to wonder how responsible Fortnite is for all these numbers. Just saying. So that's going to do it for today's Digit Daily. If you'd like to learn more about any of these stories, check out the links in the show notes and subscribe to our daily newsletter on Digit.com. Once again, my name is Adam Dowd, Dead Technology on Twitter. I thank you for listening, and we'll talk again tomorrow.